My name is Paul Darvasi, and I'm an English and Media Studies high school teacher at Royal St. George's College in Toronto, Canada. I've loved games my entire life and try to use games, especially video games, meaningfully in my practice. But today I want to talk to you about a pervasive game, which is a game that takes place in the real world that I designed called the word game. 5 years ago, as I was finishing my Master's in Education and Technology with a focus on video games and education, I stumbled upon an article that had a really interesting line. And the line was something to the effect of, don't just think about how to incorporate video games in your class, but think about how to turn your class into a video game. And this made a huge impact on me because I thought, wow, that sounds incredible. My class being turned into a living, breathing video game. But unfortunately, there were no examples at the time, and I couldn't think of what that looked like. So the idea germinated in the back of my head, and 3 years later, I was up very late one night in April, trying to work my way through a lesson plan for Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The lesson would be for my grade 12 class, and it was very late in the year, and these guys had essentially checked out. And I wanted to do something different and creative, and nothing was coming to me. And I was exhausted and sort of stressed out. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a very strange image popped into my mind. I was sitting at my desk in school, tapping away on my keyboard, except for I was wearing a nurse's cap with a big red cross on it, very much like Nurse Ratched's cap in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And this strangely opened a floodgate to my imagination, and I thought, why not turn One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest into a game? Why don't I become Nurse Ratched, turn the school into an asylum, and my students into patients? And so I started sketching out the design for this game and thinking about what video game mechanics and game mechanics could meaningfully externalize the narrative in a way that would bring it to life for my students. About a week later, on April 23rd, 2012, which is Shakespeare's birthday, fittingly enough, I launched the game. And it was a sort of ambush. I hadn't told my students that they would be playing a game. I just showed up on a rainy Monday morning and took on a completely different personality. I was oppressive and tyrannical and made them sign contracts and launched what would be a 30-day immersive experience in the world of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And as the game progressed, I saw an incredible level of engagement. Some of my students became obsessed by the game. And the most important part of the experience was that I saw students that had been largely unmotivated for years sitting at the back of the class, students that I knew to be intelligent and capable, but the system simply didn't work for them, come to life and start producing more and working harder than they ever had before. And even when they did everything they could possibly do within the game, they asked to do more. And it was never clearer to me that a change of system created the opportunity to harness a different type of mind. And that all over the world, there are minds that are being lost to their societies because of the systems in which they are being educated. What was also very interesting was that Ken Kesey's novel is a critique of post-industrial systems. The asylum is very much like a school. And as a result of that, the game not only opened up the possibility for a new system of education where students have a great deal of choice, where they can act creatively, where they can learn in a way that is meaningful to them, but it also acted as a critique of the system in the way that it exists now. A slightly more oppressive system, a system that breeds uniformity, a system that is run by authority. And they became aware retroactively of the system that they'd come from and looked forward to a different type of system, a digitalized system, a more dynamic system. It had a transformative effect on me as a teacher. I was a teacher designer, a teacher creator, a teacher artist. And these hyphenated roles are becoming more and more important. And I feel that it was an opportunity to redefine myself as a teacher. It really opened up an opportunity for creative energy that hadn't been there before, and changed me, not only in the way that I think about schools, but it changed my practice. And the game has had an effect on every aspect of my teaching since I've played it. Since 2012, it's been played twice. The second one was much better designed. It was also hugely successful. And I hope that I will continue to have the opportunity to experiment with this type of system and these types of games.